Hello everybody, welcome to the Secret History Living Inside Your Aquarium. Today we're looking at my aquarium and we're going to be talking a little bit about grading blue shrimp and blue shrimp genetics, specifically Neocaridina. The other prominent blue shrimp in the hobby would be the blue bolt caridina shrimp, and we are not looking at those today. Today, these are Neocaridina. Now, this one, while I have it, while you guys can kind of see it wherever it went, so you can see it's combing through quickly, eating aufux or biofilm, little critters off of algae and so forth. But you can see that its body is a bit patchy. So if you were going to grade this, and this is a blue dream, by the way, it almost looks a little bit more like a blue velvet. Now, blue velvets tend to have a lighter tail that is translucent, and there is no blue on the part of this guy's tail, which is clear, or gal's tail, would be a light blue ideally, and the legs would also be a light blue, and the head would have a little more darkness to it. So, as we're looking here down in the algae where all the shrimp hang out and all that, you can see one that's a little more consistently blue, but you might call it a blue velvet. Now, a particular problem has developed in this hobby, and that problem is that people are they're basically just deciding whatever they want to name a shrimp out of the popular names, and they're calling their shrimp that. Whereas a blue dream, technically, if we take a look over here, a blue dream should be from the Shoko line. So wild Shoko, I know that you can't see the color very well on this, but that is a black or brown, dark brown, chocolate color wild shrimp that then gets bred into a nice chocolate or golden brown Neocaridina, then into a blue diamond, which is like it's got blue on its shoulders and blue on its tail that are really dark, like almost a black. And that gets bred out until it's a more solid blue, just a nice navy or sapphire blue. So the names sapphire, blue shrimp, blue dream, and blue velvet have all become a little bit synonymous with the blue dream. Now, another confusing one that sometimes people mislabel are you have blue rilis, and some people mean that by a shrimp like this with red head and tail and a clear to blue center that descended from a line of Riley or Riley shrimp, that basically you have a clear spot on a red shrimp, and then that spot gets darker and turns to a blue from that clear, and you breed for more and more of the clear spot, and it gets bluer and bluer because it has those wild genes shared with the since all these shrimp are genetically related, it still does have the same genes that allow the darkness in this strain here. So it will use some of the coloration to darken up its clearness in some of the mutations, and you'll progressively get a more and more, instead of clear, you'll get a more and more blue shrimp if you select for that. Now this can take 10, 20, 30 generations, and it did to get to the consumer, and so that's why these names are a little bit important. Now traditionally a blue jelly, which you don't see around too much anymore, is just a blue Riley or Riley shrimp, be it a red headed and tailed Riley or a blue tail and head Riley, and it just means a light blue translucent shrimp. And we generally grade all blue shrimp in America with just a standard A or B, or private stock, or different breeders do it different ways, but usually it's your A class, your B class, sometimes a C class. And your A class is going to be consistent, and consistency and big strong shrimp is what we're looking for. Both the males and females exhibiting the same color, be it a light color or a dark color, both are worth money, and people will pay $14 for a really good blue jelly or a really good blue dream. More realistically, they're going to be paying like at a pet shop and not from a breeder or at a contest. More realistically, they're probably going to be paying something along the lines of, $5 to $10. With me buying from Lucas Bretz for my Blue Dream strain. And here you can see that Blue Velvet, according to this chart, supposedly means a lighter cross of the Blue Dream and the Blue Carbon, really, which says it can come from any of these places. And that's that way on here because they don't really know. There's Davidii, Neocaridina wild types, and there's Palmata, and then there's xangaghensis. I might be butchering that. And they're all interchangeable reproductively, but they all have different traits physically. So in the Palmata column, that is a legitimate term. And those ones are clear wild-like, and you can get blue pearls, which then turn into white pearls or snowball shrimp if you select for them to get clearer and clearer. So you see here, it's the same as over here. The default is not necessarily a clear white color when people are trying to make really shrimp. It's actually a blue translucent color, which makes sense if you're trying to blend in with water and sky if you're looking up and so forth in nature. But we're looking at this end spectrum here, and really your Blue Dream is going to be a solid blue. Your Blue Velvet is going to be a solid translucent, but still like sky to classic true blue on a crayon color. Let's see if we can find something. So this would be your Blue Dream blue. You don't want to see any transparency. You want to see that glow around the edges, definitely. And then let's see here if we can find another guy that's a little more. Okay, so then we've got this one here, which according to the chart, this would be inching towards a Blue Velvet in the color tone. And that being said, this is a Blue Dream line. No new shrimp lines have been introduced. And really what this is a low-grade Blue Dream in my mind. Because of those stripes, you see it doesn't have a consistent color. And so I sell those wholesale for, $3 or $2. And I sell them to customers usually for $5 to $7 if I'm like trading credit or whatnot. And that's just because those colors don't match the tail and the head and the body. Now, the closer I can get to a perfect shrimp, the better. The other thing that I want to say real quick on here is that, say for instance in this tank, I've got really different color substrates. There's a mix of substrates, and that really throws these shrimp off. To know what your shrimp truly look like, you need to give them a consistent diet, not let them scrounge just for whatever in a fish tank. And you need to also give them, all the vitamins and minerals they need, which should be in the food if you select a good food. But you also need to give them a substrate that they can feel comfortable choosing to blend in with. See, this one's a little higher grade just because it's more consistent. We're going to hop downstairs in one sec, and we're going to take a look at some higher grade shrimp. So this guy, even though he's a young baby, and its organs are what is causing the irregularity there in between on the bend, this shrimp would be a higher grade, close to a grade A, because it's a nice bright blue, its tail has blue on it, its legs are blue, its eyes are blue, its antennas are blue, its feelers, its rostrum, or its nose are blue. Anything that's clear on any of these types of shrimp is going to count against for its worth. But everybody has different preferences. So sometimes somebody wants a blue dream, somebody wants a blue pearl. So it being dark or light doesn't mean that much anymore. Whereas it used to, because the darker it was and the more consistent it was, it showed that you had spent time and energy refining that line. Whereas now the cat's out of the bag, the secret's kind of over, and we have shrimp of all different sorts all over the place. So let's hop downstairs real quick so I can show you a couple examples of a higher end shrimp, and that'll conclude it. So let's see, one sec. All right, guys, we're back downstairs, and this is a very high grade shrimp. You see this? It almost looks metallic. This blue is a sky blue. She looks great. She's got a metallic gunmetal gray to her on her tail. And her legs, her rostrum, her antennas, everything is blue. It all matches. It reflects the light great. And she would be a specimen that, you know, honestly, I wouldn't even let go of her. I will not let go of her. You can see as she turns sideways, she's just flawless on color there. It's lights reflecting from above that you're seeing on her. So down here, this is more of your blue velvet grade, but it's really coming out of a blue dream strain, and that's why you have people calling them different names and being deceitful. So even though he has consistency throughout his tail pretty much, he's got blue rostrum, dark blue eyes, you can see through his body, and he's basically, or she's basically, I'm saying that as the shrimp is super pregnant. I couldn't see it actually have a bend in it. Come on, focus. Because I thought it was that skinny looking just through my camera. In any case, so she is full of eggs right now. And those eggs will have the genes of the blue dream shrimp that are in the tank. So that'd be wrong of me, in my opinion, to sell her as a light colored blue, like a blue, to call her a blue jelly or to call her a blue velvet would be wrong, because she's gonna have blue gene babies. That was hard to say. And basically you see the Babalti shrimp in here with them, and there's a little bit of algae on the side of a shrimp tank because that's how they like it. But here are some babies that also are showing really good traits. Super solid blue. You can see they're eating away at some little teeny tiny pellets. There's some like day old babies. You can already tell that they're gonna have great color. Same with up there. So this is like kind of my high end tank. And yes, I'll pull that blue jelly female out, but I'm gonna wait and see how her babies are before I pull them away. See, there I go. I'm calling her blue jelly, but she's really just a B class blue dream, whereas that's an A class blue dream. Nice navy solid blue, a little bit of transparency to give it light. For me, it's balancing that equation and just getting it perfect. So up here in darker light, you just don't see through much of anything except for that lower part of the armor. It's upside down, so now it looks like the upper part, but it's belly, the armor that she has there. And same with the one over there. So that kind of concludes, and here we have another pregnant shrimp, and that is a higher grade blue dream. And basically, if your substrate is dark, they will try to become darker navy blue. If your substrate is light, they'll try to become light. So what I do, possibly foolishly, because I could sell more shrimp as blue dream grade A, is I put a mix. I have a lot of dark substrate back in there, but I have white gravel up towards the front half and some gray logs and cantapa leaves. And what that does is that gives me the idea of how light they can go in theory. So when they're stressed in the bag, when someone looks at them, they're going to see already, I'll know what the lightest they go is. So I'm not pulling one over on anybody. You don't have to prime that shrimp under just dark substrate. It's not going to look like that in your fish tank because your fish tank has multi-textures and so forth. So that's kind of how the grading works, guys, and I hope that helps. Please message me if you have any questions. Up at the top tank here, I have a few more shrimp that are low-grade shrimp. Let's see if we can even find one. Yeah, there's one. So these are grade B to me, and as you can see, it looks like a jelly again. I could lie and call it a jelly, but its babies might have dark babies. So basically, I put them in a separate tank, I monitor them, and I see what kind of genes they throw. There's another one that didn't make the cut. He's in this tank for being too dark. He's like black on his top, even with the clear bottom of this thing. So that's the far opposite end of the spectrum of why I would keep them out of there. And, you know, when you grade red cherry shrimp, Neocaridina, it's a little different. There's different grades and stuff, but here you can see where that defect or genetic mutation, which a lot of people like, that clearness is in that shrimp there. And so it would be a lower grade for now, but for somebody looking to breed Rili or Riley shrimp, they would really want that shrimp because it's got some clearness to it, unlike the rest of these super bright red other shrimp. So that is how the blue shrimp work. Very different than the Sakura, fire red, all that sort of stuff that gets thrown around for red shrimp or even yellow shrimp. But that's how it goes. I didn't make up these rules. They just seem to be the ones that we're playing by. So I hope that helps, and thanks for asking the question to the viewer who did. I don't want to out you if you don't want to be mentioned, but you know who you are, and thanks a lot. Talk to you guys next time.